This program was first broadcast on Otago Access Radio and made with the assistance of New Zealand On Air.
Are you in your 20s and not sure what to do with your life?
Stop what you're doing and tune into the 20-somethings Guide to Life every second Tuesday at 6 on Otago Access Radio 105.4 FM.
Your hosts, Tahora, Hannah and Mark, bring you the latest discussions on issues facing 20-somethings. Advice ranging from how to succeed at CV writing to arranging your fridge properly.
Every episode we'll be joined by someone who has achieved success in their own life, and they'll share their advice with all of us.
That's the 20-somethings Guide to Life every second Tuesday at 6 p.m. You can also find us on iTunes. For more information on the show, go to the 20somethingsguidetolife.squarespace.com. It's 6 p.m. and you're listening to the 20-somethings Guide to Life, and it's our very first episode. Tonight we'll be telling you who we are, what the 20-somethings Guide is, and our guest Dr. Fernanda Da Silva Tatley will be telling us how she got so successful. So let's start the show. Oh,
yeah. Right. I thought you were going to play a song.
We were going to play a song, and the song didn't play, so that's a really good way to start the show.
Hooray.
Should we play the song now?
This
is our intro. It's the best way to start any shows with some technical issues.
Well, it wouldn't be a pilot if you didn't screw at least something.
I know,
up,
exactly.
And we're live, so people know we're live.
Yeah. So this is the 20-somethings Guide to Life, and it's a show aimed at 20-year-olds. Advice, like
20 to 30, I guess. 20 to 29.
Yeah, if you're in that age bracket, this show is for you.
Yep, and so we're your hosts, and I guess I'll start by introducing myself. So my name's Tahora, and you can call me T, and I have another show on OAR called Can We Talk, at which these other two lovely lovely co-hosts, not guest co-hosts, appear on as well. And I'm just into all things pop culture, and I'm 21, and I really don't know what I'm doing, clearly. So this is a perfect show for me. Who are you guys?
My name's Hannah Hoskins, and I am a Sydney-born Dunedin resident, so, I'm not actually Australian, don't worry. No offence, Australians. I am taking a gap year from a Bachelor of Fashion Design, just because I felt like it. And I've been the co-host of Can We Talk on Otago Access Radio with T for a couple of months now, so that was kind of my induction into radio, and I'm passionate about design and about radio and about music, and basically I'm just here because I also have no idea what I'm doing with my life, and I feel like through learning what to do as a 20-something, I feel like I should be able to, share that with the rest of the world. So I guess that's where the inspiration for 20-somethings came from.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's awesome to meet you too.
For the first time.
So I'm Mark Yeager. My story, I'm 22. I'm pretty old. And I've got a couple of degrees. I've got a Bachelor in Media, Film and Communications. And I've got a certificate in Film and Television from Iraqi Polytechnic. And currently, I'm basically in my transition year between study and work, trying to find work and stuff like that by doing internships and that. And I basically got into radio way back in uni. I did a summer school paper course. We were doing radio, and then that's how I met OAR, and then in Iraqi Polytech did a documentary on Jeff Harford, who does the awesome morning show here. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I guess we'll start off and tell you guys exactly what the 20-somethings Guide is. So, Hannah, please, what is our purpose? Why are we here?
Well, we've been working, me and T and Mark actually, we've all been working through the youth zone for a little while now, and so there's quite a lot of advice out there for teenagers. And so we realised, we're not teenagers anymore, and that's kind of horrible because none of us are in school, none of us have people breathing down our necks telling us what we're supposed to be doing, and you kind of feel like you're floating a little. Do you feel like you're floating?
Yeah, I feel like I've been floating for a very, very long time. Too long, in fact.
Yeah, you get pushed out into the real world and you have no idea what you're doing. So basically, we're a little stuck, and we want to know, how to write a CV, how to file your taxes. Does anyone know how to do their taxes? Because because I don't know how to do mine.
I don't know how to get a tax refund.
It's really hard being a young adult, and there's not that much, cohesive advice out there. So, yeah, basically we have made this show to collect and broadcast, things that'll just help 20-somethings, because it's a hard time in your life, and we just kind of want to be, useful to you guys and help ourselves, basically. It's kind of comes from a selfish place, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, basically, we don't know what to do generation, as I like to call it.
Exactly. And everything, like with the advances in technology, everything has changed so much between our parents' generation and our generation. So it's not like, we can be like, hey, Mum, how do I be a person? Because, what they faced is, a completely different set of issues.
Yeah.
And we really want to work with you guys, and so you can email us at the20somethingsguide@gmail.com, and we've also got a Facebook page, the 20-somethings Guide to Life, and we want to know what you guys want to hear about, and advice you want. We've put down lots of stuff. We've got healthy eating and how to make a CV. In our promo, we talk about how to organize your fridge properly.
Skincare. Because a lot of most people go through, that horrible skin phase in their teenage years, but I know a few people who just, got the whole puberty face once they left high school. So, that's also a important topic that we could perhaps cover.
Yeah, just cover mine with a beard. It's okay. No one can see it.
Yeah, I'm kind of envious of that. On one hand, I don't want to have to shave, but on the other hand, if I had a really bad pimple, it would be great.
It's great.
It's
very
true.
great.
And we also have a YouTube channel started up. It's called The 20-somethings Guide to Life, obviously. So subscribe to us on there, and there'll be bits and pieces of the podcast, or you can find it on iTunes once it's uploaded. And there's also old episodes of Can We Talk up there, which we're kind of reusing for the show, because they kind of work together. Yeah, so it's every fortnight. So every fortnight we'll be coming with the show, and we'll always start off with a hot topic. And so this is our hot topic noise. Let's hope this noise works. Awesome.
It worked.
Fire.
It is. And so today's hot topic is actually one taken off of Twitter, and it's a tweet, and it is: I need to distance myself from a very dear friend. Her energy is so bad for me, and I have no idea how to do it without offending her. What's your advice?
Well, I can't say that I am unfamiliar with that kind of situation. I feel like, when you go through life, there are certain people that you're always going to have to cut out, and you are the focal point of your own existence. Your happiness is more important than, treating everyone around you, softly. I feel like you've got to break a few hearts to keep going in life. So, I feel like you don't necessarily need to be gentle with this person. You don't owe it to them to, treat them gently if their energy is upsetting you. I feel like, take control of your life, be your own person, look after yourself before anyone else.
Exactly. I agree with that. I have to say again, you don't have to worry about the way that you are treating them. If they're treating you badly and you just want to cut them out, just cut them out. That's because that's all you just have to do. Exactly. There's no sugarcoating a situation like that.
But if you do want to sugarcoat it, try and make it so it's not really about her. Just say, oh, it's me, I just needed some time away by myself, kind of thing. If you don't want to take
but isn't that the biggest excuse in the book?
It's
not you, it's me.
It's cliche, but it works.
I have this habit of just if I don't want to have a discussion with someone, I will just ignore them. I won't read their messages. I will just cut myself out of their life. And that's really bad. I feel like if you have an honest conversation with someone that you're having issues with, it's generally resolved a lot faster and with a lot less tears. Is that correct English? I'm really struggling today. I was just made for radio. I feel like, that'll result in a better outcome than if you just bottle it all up and hide away and ignore everyone that isn't on Tumblr.
And if they're a good friend, they're going to understand if, say, I need some time apart from you. If they're a good friend, they're going to understand that you're that kind of person that needs time away from someone at times.
Yeah, I think
See, my English is bad today too.
we've just been with teenagers for like 2 hours, so we're all a little bit drained of energy. Zombie penguin man really takes it out of you.
But I do feel like maybe if this person is really draining you, that maybe you could talk to them or tell someone that is close friends to them to talk to them. Maybe it's like something they've got happening in their life, and that is why they're acting this way.
Yeah.
Like, there's
true.
probably more to the situation, especially if they were such a good friend to begin with. And yes, friendships do end. Like, I've ended a few. Like, but I think maybe kind of stepping back and looking at the situation and going, like, person one didn't used to be this way. Why is this person like this now?
Yeah, I think most importantly, be genuine, be sincere, be observant, know what's going on in this person's life before you make any, rash calls. But at the end of the day, you are living your life. You need to look out for yourself most of all. And if you have to, maybe break a few hearts, break a few ties, make a few enemies to, control your own happiness, then I feel like at the end of the day, that's kind of the most important thing. Like, don't go out of your way to be mean, but, don't tread lightly just so,
So real talk, has anyone actually cut ties with anyone before? I can start.
Yes, please.
So, last year we had this flatmate who just smelled really bad, and this isn't like a trying to be mean thing. It was awful. Like, it was the worst, and we did it the very worst way possible. Is that we wrote her a letter and stuck it like underneath her door while she was in there, and we were in the flat. So she just gets this letter saying, "You smell. You need to move out," but in more detail. And yeah, that cut a lot of ties.
Explain the smell to me.
It was like damp mould because she never washed her clothes or washed herself.
Right.
Or he. Don't want to read anyone too much. But yeah, so that cut some ties. But it was like kind of necessary. It was very difficult to live with.
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't, and it wasn't just myself or like one person, it was the whole flat going, no, we need to put a stop to this situation right now.
Yeah, I think the only real kind of severing of ties that's happened in my life was with you guys.
Yeah.
Because I think we were on different plateaus and we had to do go through a lot of personal growth before we became friends again. But now we are, and everything's worked out fine.
It is funny like that.
Yeah, sometimes... Yeah, so
Hannah and I are actually a really good example of this. Where we did
I was
start
reading
off
this and I was like, oh.
as really good friends, and then we kind of distance ourselves for reasons. But now we're back being friends again.
Yeah,
so
I think perhaps
No, just two enemies are like fighting right now.
yeah, it's just a radio friendship. We never see each other apart from this.
It's business.
But so this person might be, providing toxic energy into your life at the moment, but they will grow as a person, and you will grow as a person, and perhaps the people that you are in a few months' time will be more cohesive. Alrighty,
Mark.
Yeah, probably I'm going a lot deeper than I probably should, but like when I've been in relationships, I'm usually the one that actually ends it and cuts the ties, really. Because I feel like I'm not either adequate or the relationship is just toxic to myself and probably to the partner as well. So yeah, that was very deep and meaningful to bring up.
But I think I actually prefer being the person that does break up the relationship. I don't know why. I think it's a power thing.
You're doing it for the power.
You've got to be doing it for the right reasons, obviously.
And the power.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Fernanda, our guest, as we told you before, has just joined us in the room. So we'll just quickly send you guys away to Youth Fund promo. And we'll be back after that. So let's hope that this song works. Awesome.
So this is a Youth Fund song, Dee? What is Youth Fund?
Have you never heard of Youth Fund?
No, what is
Hannah?
it?
No, I knew we were being funded, but I wasn't exactly sure by who. So perhaps you should give us a little bit of...
Youth Fund Dunedin, they're so helpful. They funded us for these shows.
Really?
Really. They have an easy application form that's just so simple to fill out. You just have to put in like how much it's going to cost, what your project is, and if you think it's going to help, and send it away, and they do the rest of the work for you.
It's really great that like youth in New Zealand have access to things like this because, we'd be lost without them.
Yeah, how have I not heard about this before?
They are driven for the youth by the youth, and they can offer up to $3,000 towards a project. So if you're between the age of 13 and 24 and you're ready to encourage and empower people, then message Youth Fund because they will sort you out.
You won't regret it.
Yeah.
All right, you're listening to the 20-somethings Guide to Life on Otago Access Radio 105.4 FM and Dr. Fernanda. Is that all right, Dr. Fernanda?
Yes, so just call me Fernanda.
Just Fernanda?
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
much easier.
Has joined us in the house. How are you?
Oh, great. Just cold. It's 2 degrees out there.
It's so freezing.
And yes, the streets are icy.
Yeah. This will be a hard show to do for the rest of winter now, having to come here at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a bus
So
home.
we're
afterwards.
risking life and limb here just to make this podcast.
Except that the days are going to be getting longer, marginally.
Oh,
so
yeah,
maybe it's not so bad. Maybe this is like a phoenix rising.
Hit midwinter. Did you
Yeah.
did you see the midwinter festival? I didn't get to it this year, but
No, I didn't. But the pictures in the paper did look amazing.
Yeah.
It was so cold, and we were just, we just had dinner, and we just felt like, no, we just want to stay home. And it's the kind of thing, when you have small kids, it's really great to introduce them. But I mean, to take a 20-year-old and 18-year-old to a function like that, they probably wouldn't want to be seen with their mother.
yeah, I was pretty excited about it when I was a kid, but now I'm kind of like, I could be inside with Netflix instead.
So Fernanda's joining us because she's amazing and successful, and we want to pick her brain on some advice on how to actually do it, how to get successful. And I did a little bit of typed your name into Google to find out a bit about you, and I was on is it Azuli Skincare? You are incredible.
No, I'm just very ordinary.
No.
Very ordinary.
Very accomplished.
Yeah, so you were raised in Portugal, studied at the University of Cape Town, and you did a PhD in molecular medical microbiology.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Try to say that 5 times faster.
Yeah. And then you moved to New Zealand
Yeah.
and have been working and building up a brand over here. So how did you do this?
Well, it came back to a dream that I had when I was probably a little bit older than you guys, but still relatively young. And I thought about doing skincare using natural ingredients, so good for the environment, because when you select them, you don't harm the environment, and they're good for you. And being in South Africa at the time it was sort of apartheid was changing, I felt, oh golly, this is so superficial and so, so fluffy. Here am I thinking about skincare when people don't even have food on their plates. People don't have jobs, and I felt, no, I won't do this. So I didn't. And one thing led to another. I ended up working at the University of Otago, just because, of the connections I had when I was in South Africa. And there came a time when I felt that there was something missing. And I think these kinds of things happen as you get older. People talk about the fact that you stack up what you've got, and you work out whether or not you have done all the things you wanted to achieve. And maybe that's what I did, but I felt, okay, I can do it here. We have a lovely country. It's relatively safe compared to the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. And we've got a social system that more or less supports people that are falling through the traps. Doesn't catch everyone, but, so there are holes. But I felt that I wasn't being so self-centered or so selfish by doing something I wanted to do. And so I took the plunge, and I started working in the background of getting the formulations together, even though sort of some of them date back to the 80s. And I was still working at the university or in biotech, in a biotech company, Pacific Edge Biotechnology. And then I kind of decided, oh, well, this is it. I've got a product that is really good and I want to go for it. And everyone says that, this is going to be fantastic. So guess what? I gave up my job and, go feet first. And it was great for the first year. And then all of a sudden, reality hit because even though everyone is very supportive and you've got a plan, I mean, you don't just have a plan A, you've got a plan A, B, C, D, and you try and sort of move from one to the other. It doesn't matter how many reviews or how many analysis you do when you are preparing. And I did the Masters of Entrepreneurship as well, so I've got all the sort of financial and accounting sort of know-how and, marketing, etc. When you hit the ground in the market, everything changes, and it changes instantly. And there's nothing to prepare you for that. And I think that's the most harrowing thing. Everyone can be successful on paper, but when you do something, that's when you test what you're making.
Yeah, the world is moving so quickly, you don't know how, you don't really know when your product is going to suddenly become obsolete. Is it Kodak? Is it Kodak that did
yes, absolutely,
physical prints of photos?
Yeah.
Now they're completely irrelevant. You don't really know what the world is going to show you.
Kodak and Agfa, and then Fuji, they had the market cornered. But technology changed, and the thing is that when you're thinking about these things, you can't see your competitors either.
Yeah.
But then I came from a different planet, literally, because I thought, forget about competitors, because if your product is so good and your energy is so good and what you're putting in is so creative and it has good intentions. Don't limit yourself with competitors. Just go for it. And I still think that is largely true, but try and convince funding agencies
I know.
Like Youth Fund, who was funding this.
or even the various chambers of commerce or venture capitalists. They don't work by those codes. They work by codes of you have to kill the competitor. Whereas I'm thinking, let's embrace the competitor, make them feel comfy, and just work together. And that was difficult. That is still difficult, but I'm pursuing the fact that we need to cooperate rather than compete. Competition is good, but it's self-limiting. It's about power.
Exactly. Well, I think because Azuli kind of comes from, it comes from the earth. It's of the earth. So I feel like, the fundamentals of the entire project are quite, wholesome and sort of natural. And I suppose we're kind of moving into an era where, people are quite focused on the earth and quite focused on things that come from natural beginnings. So I suppose the, fast pace and the commercialism of sort of the, product world is kind of almost, obviously it's relevant to everybody who has a product, but it's also, it's less influential on something that is kind of more of the earth rather than something that's going to go out of fashion next season, perhaps.
But also the other thing is that we live in a world where there is so much information. You like you said, you've Googled me. You can Google anything. And just because it's on Google, don't believe it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But a lot of people do. And so they start with the framework. If it's on the internet, it must be right. So there's a lot of disinformation as well. And it's very difficult to peel the layers. And we're all too busy to actually go and find out something, of value for us. So, what do? You go to the supermarket, Countdown or, New World or Foursquare, whatever, and you just grab whatever's on the shelf closest to you, and you don't think. And I'm not saying this from a criticism. That's a state of
Exactly. That's
Fact,
the
that's
world
how-
that we
that's
live in.
how-
Really.
yes.
And everything is so, super, marketed, and the media
Yeah.
has such an intense, input on what we buy and what we wear and, who we are as people, what we believe, I suppose. So
we need to think a little bit more and say, hang on a minute, like you guys were talking about relationships, it's the same thing with life. Okay, let me sit down, my back is straight, my bottom is on the chair, and I go, take 5. And that's important. And that's important throughout life. That's important to be successful at what you do. Even though you say, you think I'm quite successful, heck, by my family standards, I haven't got millions, so I'm not successful, So how do you define success?
Well, I think you seem successful to me because you have made a living out of something that you love, and you have really good things to say about who you are and what you do, and you just, I don't know, you sort of perpetuate ideas that I think a lot of people in business should be perpetuating, because
Yeah, I think it's kind of, in my eyes, successful. You're successful in my eyes because you've got this product and you really stand by that product, and you there's a lot of people that can just put their face on something, but you actually put the work into it.
Yeah.
So that's why I say you're successful.
Well, that's actually quite interesting. You're saying the other day I was talking to someone who is a venture capitalist, and he said to me, look, it's about time you work on the business, not in the business. And it's quite interesting. It only dawned on me then. He's right, I'm in the business. But I mean, how else? If you're not in the business as well, you don't have the soul to see or to feel what it is that you're creating. We live in a world that sort of makes these gaps. For instance, my kids only recently, it sounds awful, only recently made the connection that there's meat in the pack in the supermarket, and there's animals in the field, and somewhere in between
right.
there's a machinery that sort of kills them and processes the sheep or the cows, whatever, into meat. And we've made a lot of those disconnects in our lives, in business, in our relationships. We sort of compartmentalize everything. And I'm kind of trying to take things from a different angle. It's not so much that I've made a living out of this. I think I've made an effort to remain positive despite the adversities. That's
some really good advice for people 20s, any age really, that wants to go into sort of business and something they really have to work for. So what advice as well as that would you give to people like that?
Look, apart from doing the background work, the due diligence, which you would do, I think it's really important before you give up your job like I did and go feet first.
what job?
Yes. Or, that's true. Try and speak to as many people as you can until you find someone that resonates with you, to give you, not to give you lip service, but just to encourage you in the right direction. And what I've found is that there are a lot of people that will want to encourage you, but they want to clip a ticket. And I find that quite detestable. And they say, well, but, I'm a consultant, and this is what I do. Well, there comes a responsibility as well. That's, consultants can make money out of companies that can afford them, but there should be a way to give time to people that are starting out. They haven't got 2 cents in their pocket, and whatever they have, they need to put in this venture that they're starting with. So I think this is something that is needed in our society. Where there are such people as angel investors, but why the hell they call them angels? I have no idea, because there's nothing angelical about their approach. It's really quite hard, quite business-like. I think there ought to be a group of people that buffers the young people from the investors. Just kind of gives them a little bit of training.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be involved in something like that, just because I've been so focused on what I've done, I haven't had a lot of free time. But I think that's important. So if you want to start a business, find the people that you can talk to, that you can ask questions, even if it's not in the same related business, that, it doesn't matter. But it's an ethos that comes with the person, a kind of an ethic, and that's important to get from somebody else before you knock at the door of a venture capitalist or a banker and garrote yourself.
Yeah, because I think that happens a lot, especially with young people looking to, not invest, but looking to borrow money for things. I think people, like businesses and corporations, make so much money out of people doing stuff wrong.
Well, yes, that's right.
And so they count on you screwing up your first business venture, because that way they get all of your, interest out of that. All of the debt that you owe, goes to them. So I feel like it's awkward when you're starting out something that, you're placing, your life on the line for. It's hard to know who to trust. So I suppose, some sort of buffer, as you said, would probably be a good idea.
Useful. The other thing is, also don't fall into the trap like I did of joining all sorts of associations that you see as credible or a kind of a reflection of your own credibility. All you're doing is you're spending money monthly for somebody else, but what benefit you get is actually very little.
Still paying that.
My mum bought
Thank
me
you
a
for
gym
reminding me
membership.
that.
So really talk to people. Use people that are willing to say, well, God, if the universe, whatever you want to say, has put me on this place, biology, chance. And I have learned a lot from other people. It is my turn to give something back to other people. And I think that there needs to be a chain of people that are prepared to do that.
Yeah. There are good people in the world, and you have to remember that when people are screwing you over. It's not everybody that wants to screw you over.
I think that's a minority, but when they do get a hold on you, it has such an impact on your life that it's negative.
So, deviating a little bit probably, I was just thinking that since our generation just gets everything instantaneously, like via internet, via anything, and you've just gone through your life, you pursued your dreams, etc. When we decide to do something and we don't get it instantly, we kind of just give up. What would you suggest to someone like that
to Les Mills?
Gives up easily, I guess, at the first stopping point?
Oh, well, I'm going to be very cliche-like, but Rome wasn't built in one day. And so you can't actually give up just because something doesn't happen instantaneously. Building something that is part of your dream is not like getting a burger from a fast food chain. It really requires quite a lot of love and care. And when I mean love and care, it doesn't mean to say you go and make love to your business or to your partner, or you can do that too, but not for the for the sake of
probably not your business.
It's a little bit weird. Yes. But when I mean love, I mean you've got to put this this caring, this plan to really feel that this is something you want to do, and it doesn't happen instantly. Part of the process is learning to wait. Everything happen in its time.
And things change as you grow up and as you build your empire. It's like a child, I suppose. You can't have this idea in your head of this person that you want to create, then have a baby and voila, you have this I
just want to talk to that for a minute because I and the way I see it is back in 2009 I started my Twitter account and had no followers, nothing, but I really wanted to be on that social media platform because it was my chosen social media platform over all other ones. And since then it's not that huge a leap, but I've gone up to 800 followers, but that happened over like 6 years. So when you really want to build something, it does take time. Yeah, I agree with you on all of that. I don't like the new generation of getting everything so quickly and being updated on everything so quickly. It can be too much sometimes.
And you don't cherish it.
Yeah.
Like if you get everything instantly, you don't value it.
Yeah, but it does take a little bit of maturity to understand that. And sometimes, say you're a young person, 16, 17, you've just finished school and you think you all rear up and things aren't happening as fast as you want. Okay, so something didn't happen. Then instead of moaning, just sit down for 5 minutes and look around you. Listen to the world around you. And what you'll find is that you'll see an advert to something, you'll bump into someone, you hear something, and your brain starts shifting. But give yourself 5 minutes to just disconnect. And if you find that very difficult, there is a very good exercise which doesn't show very well on radio, is look up, bend your head back as far as you can, and you're tilting in such a way, your neck is almost bent back. That breaks your train of thought, and you laugh. Exactly what happened.
Well, Hannah and I are over here tilting.
My neck, I tilt back and my neck goes crunch, 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 crunch.
Well, with gentleness, but you've got to break that link to the pattern of self-criticism and irritation. But one thing at a time. So sorry, I don't have a magic bullet.
I know, I wasn't looking for a magic bullet. I was just interested in hearing your opinion on that.
I was like, where are we going? What? Smoothies? Okay,
well, bringing this back around, as you would have heard earlier, we always are having a hot topic for each show, and today's one is a tweet taken off of Twitter, which is, I need to distance myself from a very dear friend. Her energy is so bad for me, and I have no idea how to do it without offending her. What's your advice for something like that? Have you ever had to distance yourself from people in business or friendships, relationships?
Yes.
And how did you handle it?
I have, on some occasions, I've talked on the phone because that was the only appropriate medium. Other times I've done it in person. It's always been a heart-wrenching exercise. I've always felt terrible at the end, but there is no other ways to avoid it. You just have to explain what is it that you feel and why you think it is important to put the cards on the table and say, look, this is not working well. You don't have to be mean, and you probably find that the other person or persons are probably feeling similarly but just don't know how to do it. So for the person with the tweet, just go to this person and say, can we have a coffee and talk about this, or have a tea, or just sit down, hot chocolate, or whatever your mojo sort of preferred place. But just talk, like you were saying earlier on. That's very important.
Yeah, you owe it to them and to yourself.
And to
honest,
yourself,
really.
And then even if it comes to the point where it gets quite intense, and just agree to disagree, at least you've made an effort to have a bridge between two people that are not doing well, and sometimes the bridge breaks, sometimes a better bridge builds, but stand back. You've done your thing, and then you just walk away.
Sometimes there is no delicate way to do it, really.
Yeah, but but if it comes from your heart, then it doesn't matter what you say, it gets understood. So it's like you were saying, don't be mean, don't be rude, just say, okay, look, I think we'll better just part company, or maybe not. Have a little bit of distance for some time.
Take a break, do some growing.
Yeah. Or, it happens anyway. Sometimes, you go traveling and you don't get a chance to see someone. But I would do the same. It's not easy, and there's no, there are no formulae. Every case is different.
Definitely. So tell us, in your 20s, what was life like for you? Were you starting up your business then, or were you still studying?
No, I was studying, and the business was really in the back of my mind as an incubator. It was not acceptable for my family if I wanted to start a business, I had to be a doctor. That was my dad had this dream. I had to be a doctor, so it was not on. But it was very much a case of trying to make everything that I did as if it was a sculpture, as if it was a beautiful painting. And so I embellished it as much as I could. So I was doing something that felt great, even if it was just in my head or doing it amongst my friends. But it took me 30 years to get past this point of thinking, I can't start a business because my family would never accept it. Don't do that. At the end of the day, it's not what your family dictates on you. They mean well, but you've got to make choices. I was too scared to make choices then. My life would have been quite different, but I didn't. I chose to be a nerd, to study hard, to do all the amazing things. My kids say, so when did you first smoke? I didn't. What do you mean you never smoked? Well, I didn't.
Not one puff ever.
No, not one puff ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have drugs. No, I didn't. But I mean, other people around you are having drugs. So,
Do you regret that part of your life? Are there things that you wish you'd experienced or, feel like your past could have done without? Or are you happy that you made the choices that you made?
Well, I would have liked to have made different choices, not to do the drugs and the smoking. I mean, that's okay. That's I don't need that. In fact, I always think that the kind of person I am, I don't need substances to enjoy life. I enjoy life because that's who I am. But I would have liked to have explored my arty, creative side much more. I went into the science medical stream and I stayed there. And it's very conservative, very male-dominated. I know we have two guys here, but a male-dominated society with a very strict hierarchy. You start at the bottom, and
these two know where they stand.
and I think that was really quite unpleasant, and I rebelled against that, as nerdy as I was, and I suffered for it because it was not the way people behave. You just go step by step up the hierarchy, whereas I kind of wanted to break the chains away. So maybe if I had gone the very arty way that I wanted to go to, I wouldn't have had to do that. Was just a chord slipping, in case you're thinking there was anything more bodily related. It was not.
I'm not sure if they actually picked up, but
I just had too many mandarins.
The headphone cord made a beautiful noise on the table. Everyone missed that.
Yes, so I think I would have liked to have done that. I would have liked to have been more courageous and have stood against what my dad wanted me to do, and I didn't. I just did what he thought was right, and then I kind of morphed my way around that. So I took a slightly comfortable way, but maybe I should have gone smack right onto it, and it's... Yeah, so stay true to your heart. I think I kind of tried to stay true to his heart. And he meant well, I know that. But
yeah, sometimes, your parents knowing what's best for you isn't necessarily, the truth, because your parents, what's best for you in their mind might, be something completely different than what's actually best for you as a person.
Yeah, short of doing something silly, of course they don't want you to do, to get yourself into trouble, but a lot of times they do things because they themselves are quite scared.
Yeah.
And fear is something that we don't need. We need to do things from a point of view adventure. I'm going for an adventure.
Yeah, it's so easy to just be safe and just stay in bed and get a 9-to-5 job that requires no real effort. It's so just easy to take no risks, but it's not particularly rewarding at the end of the day.
No, and look, although there's a kind of a saying or proverb that says that money doesn't buy you happiness, but oh heck, it does help you.
Certainly helps.
Helps to live in misery, but in comfort.
Only people that actually have money say that money can't buy happiness.
Absolutely. It's lovely to have the, not to have to think, well, can I go and buy a latte today, or have a drink with a friend or something. If you continuously have to watch your dollars, it's
very
not
stressful.
Good. It is stressful and it's unpleasant and it's negative. So
to be honest, if I'm having a bad day and I go and buy some clothing, I feel a lot better for at least a few hours.
Retail therapy.
I'm dreadful at it. There's a sign out in the hallway that's like, I always spend lots of money and then take ages to pay it off, and I'm like, wow, that's me. I should go and talk to those people.
So we're actually just entering into our last 10 minutes. It's gone very quickly.
Well, it's gone very quick.
So before we get down to final questions, I just want to talk about something for a minute.
Making that face, I'm worried.
Have you guys heard of Youth Fund?
Yes, actually. We have talked about Youth Fund. Youth Fund is actually funding this show, and we're pretty pleased with that. So
they are funding this whole show, and they could fund you as well.
They could.
If you need something from Youth Fund, you can find them online at youthfundneden.co.nz and just use their easy application form, and all you have to do is provide a budget and what you're doing, and they'll sort you out for projects up to $3,000 and just be between the ages of 13 to 24. So we've still got like 3 years-ish. How old are you again?
2.5.
Too old, probably.
So thanks, Youth Fund.
That's a really good resource.
Yeah, they are awesome.
That's kind of what you were talking about before, actually.
Got to plug them a little bit, and that's our special Youth Fund song for them.
Yeah. That's really, really great. Yes, I should go and have a look at their website and see if I can do something that would complement
awesome.
what they're doing.
Help them out a little bit.
So, last few minutes, any final questions? Any advice, any sort of summing up advice you'd offer to the 20-somethings out there still trying to find themselves? I mean, you've offered so much great stuff already. A lot of just sort of persevering, keeping your head up, all that sort of stuff. Don't quit if something doesn't come straight away.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, I'm a great one for don't keep quiet, ask questions, because people tend to stew and I know you don't have moles in New Zealand, but you can make a mountain out of a molehill just because you kind of just in your head sometimes when you voice your concern or you sort of the way you're planning something, your thoughts with somebody else, you get a completely different perspective and you get an aha moment. So very important when you're feeling stuck. Just, go and talk to someone. No one can fix you. Only you can make the decisions for yourself, but it really helps a lot if you can talk to someone.
And also, don't be afraid of sounding like an idiot, because chances are everybody else around you is wondering the same thing.
Yeah, no. And the other thing is that there are no idiotic questions. The people that don't ask the questions are the ones that look like Tim Tams.
Look like Tim Tams.
Or, squashed chocolate biscuits, which everybody else is going to eat.
Now I feel like Tim Tams.
Yeah.
Plug in for Tim
Tams.
Tams. Tim Tams, if you'd like to sponsor us.
We should do that.
Placement.
We've got Youth Fund already. They're our product placement for now.
No, but I think that's just very important. Talk and talk to... sometimes your youngest brother or your grandmother and look and be informed.
Everybody has different perspectives. Everybody has something new to teach you, I suppose.
Listen and just watch, see what's around you, and just feel full of life. Just enjoy. Take a breather. Take 5 minutes. You are precious. You are a special person in this universe, in this city, in this country, and we are so incredibly lucky to be here the way we are. Don't stuff it up by saying, no, it's not. Okay, I'm going to get to the bottom of this and going to feel better. Even if you have no ideas, sort of and if you're really stuff, just go to sleep, and in the morning when you wake up, something else will pop up in your head.
Talk to people.
Yeah,
talk to people. Always talk to
talk.
people. Honestly, like I am a massive advocate for like just not like therapy, but I feel like just talking to people, telling them what's up is so valuable.
Yeah, except that if they happen to be engrossed into a book or a movie, don't go and jump onto them. Just kind of.
Oh no.
I need help. I need help.
Yes,
Everything.
Yeah, no.
Have a cup of tea first.
Yeah. No, just say to someone, "Hey, can I have you? Can I have you time? 5 minutes when you've got 5 minutes, and then take 5 hours."
Yeah.
And they'll be willing to give you 5 hours. I'm sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but this is not wisdom. This is just common sense. So use your common sense.
Yeah.
It's something we forget a lot of the time, I think. Common sense.
Because everyone goes onto the internet, and the internet has no common sense.
No one on Tumblr has common sense. Honestly, I swear to God.
Oh, I mean, that's just the world we live in. But and yes.
Right. Well,
no.
sorry, I have to wrap it up now. I don't want to end this conversation. You'll have to come back.
Oh, I'd love to come back and we can talk about all sorts of things. And you guys are amazing. This is a really interesting show. Really good to see you coming and producing something that is quite different, quite unique. So it's by young people, for young people. Normally we have stuff for young people from grannies like me. I'm not a granny, but I mean, relative to you, I'm a granny. So it's really good.
Yeah, by people in their 20s who are struggling, for people in their 20s who are struggling.
Yeah. And it has that kind of genuine ethos, so well done for doing it.
Thank you.
And thank you to Youth Fund for funding you
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
And thank you for what they do. That's fantastic.
You'll never stop thanking them.
Yeah.
So if you guys want more of the 20-somethings Guide to Life, you can find us on Facebook. Just type in the name. And we have a YouTube channel where you'll find lots of interviews, old and new, and we're trying to put out some new footage on there. And we've also got social media links, so you can find, I'm going to totally put mine as I always do. You can find my on Twitter. It's _ and my name, TOHORA_. And yeah.
I'm just Hannah Eloise. Hannah is HANA on Twitter. And I don't really want to give anyone out give anyone my Tumblr, thanks. But yeah.
And you can find me on Twitter at Jaeger Hunter, Jaeger_Hunter. And that's really about all I use these days.
And then you can also find Fernanda's skincare. Where can we find that online?
You can find it on the website, www.azurlis.co.nz.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Check it
just
out.
Google my name.
Yeah,
because it
much
turns out-
easier. God, when I Google me, it's all just like comments I've left on Harry Potter fan fiction in like 2008, so it's always a mess.
I mean, at some point, maybe we can talk about the value of natural skincare and how a lot of youth is into the beauty side of things, forgetting to look
I'm
after
very interested
themselves.
to talking about
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
So
I'm a big
but I mean,
skincare
another
person.
topic for
Another topic for another episode.
Another episode. That's
Because
right.
we would like to do one on that. So, tune in. The next episode is July 7th at 6 on 105.4 FM.
And we'll be talking to my mummy dearest about eating on a budget. So that'll be helpful for students out there, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yours truly included.
With lots of great
Same
recipes and money-saving tips. We'll get some of those.
Yep.
And hot topics. And like us on Facebook, the 20-somethings Guide to Life. And we'll be back July. I always get June, July mixed up, apparently.
Well, they are J's. It is quite confusing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks for joining us, Fernanda.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Well, thank you
guys.
so much. You guys are terrific, and it's a great show. So go for it.
It's the beginning. We are the rising phoenix.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
This program was first broadcast on Otago Access Radio and made with the assistance of New Zealand On Air. 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 Of New